All right, let's call to order this Finance Committee meeting for the OCPC on Tuesday, June 29th, 5:45. I'll start off by reading the accessibility statement. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833, extension 202. The notice of non-discrimination rights and protections to beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833, extension 202 for more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And for the roll call, Chairman Silvestri?
Present.
Christine Joy?
Present.
Sandra Wright?
Present.
Frank Staffier is excused. He's unable to attend. I know, and my apologies for sending out the wrong credentials for this meeting. Lee Hartman was not going to plan on attending either, and I'm just waiting to hear back from Jean Marie Kent Joyce. So, and for staff, it's Brenda Robeson, Charles Kilmer, and myself. Before you are the minutes of the May 25th Finance meeting, Mr. Chair.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 25th Finance Committee meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the May 25, 2021 minutes.
I'll second the motion.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those put. Can you see the minutes on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Next is the May. Let me just bring this up. Brenda?
Okay. Statement of expenditures report shows total expenses for the month at $177,675.74. Moving on to the cash position report, showing income for the month of $144,602.40. Disbursements for the month were $339,312.78. Total cash available at month's end was $1,348,896.06. OPEB account had a gain of $16,091.13, bringing the ending balance in the OPEB account to $873,991.13. Moving on to the budget resources report.
And just before we move on to the, we're at the end of this presentation, we'll show you the statement, the May statement of the OPEB report, so you can see it graphically. So thank you.
So I have a question on this
Okay.
already. So that if you go back, that 1,348,896.06, is that
Yep.
going to reflect on what you sent to me, the Rockland Trust, the summary that they sent? Is that reflecting that or not?
No, that number is a conglomeration literally of everything, of every bank account, the disbursements in the, so it would not, no. That's a reflection of everything.
All of this right here.
Yes, everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm moving on to budget resources report. Total receipts for the month were $144,602.40, bringing the total cumulative receipts for this fiscal year to $3,135,114.66. Moving on to the AAA report. Pass-through total cumulative billings for FY22 is at $631,316. The remaining fund balances at this time are a total of $1,899,057. I got it out.
Yes, you did.
Ombudsman and admin funds show total cumulative billings at a total of $44,209, bringing the remaining balances in admin and ombudsman to a total of $363,589, which is not what you're looking at. That's the number that I just said is the correct number. I just didn't reload the whole packet. So the total is actually $363,589. The calculation didn't work correctly on the sheet.
Got it.
So I apologize for that. Moving on to the ROM May statement.
Let me just do this, stand by.
Okay,
There, might be a little bit
I
easier.
know it's so
Can
tiny.
you all see that?
I can see it.
The balance at the beginning of May was $177,531.92. May receipts being $5,850, bringing the total ROM FY21 receipts to $64,350. May expenses were $4,727.57, bringing the total ROM expenses FY21 to $71,173.42. The ending balance in the ROM bank account in May was $178,148.59. Moving on to our regular budget report, reflecting through the end of May. The total expenditures through the end of May were a total of $1,636,888. Our percentage spent to date is at 79.95%. The ideal percentage in the 11th month of the fiscal year would be 91.63%. So we continue to be in great shape with a surplus balance.
Brenda, can you just repeat the numbers for that subtotal, what you said and what we had here, a slight difference. So 1,636,888.
$1,636,888. That's not what I said. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're good. You just repeat.
Okay.
That's what we have.
Okay. And bringing the percentage to 79.75. And this is just all of the details.
Details in terms of the payables out there that's there.
Yes, those are the checks for the month, and that's the ROM budget. I'm not sure if you want to go through that now,
Not
Mary.
quite yet. Let's,
Okay.
what I'd like to do first
I
is,
know it's attached at the end, so,
but we should go to see if there's any questions of the
okay.
financials of May.
So I guess my only question is going to be with the balance remaining for this fiscal year.
Yep.
I'm assuming that because and this might be jumping the gun because I'm looking at the projected budget you guys have for FY 2022. So that miscellaneous account that you have, where you have $233,000. That's
Okay, wait a second. I'm not sure what you're looking at. What's on the screen is the FY21 budget
Through May.
through May, just through the end of May.
So Doug, I think you are just jumping a little bit ahead. It will be.
Yeah.
Actually he's not. He is looking at the miscellaneous, what's left over. Which is in fact a tremendous amount, but by the end of June, you'll see that number changes a lot.
And maybe explain why it's going to change a lot, Brenda.
Well, it's going to change a lot because we've been, there are things that we've needed. We've pulled together all of our capital expenses from all of our departments, and things that were needed. There's a very large expenses going through Mass DOT, which will end up coming back to us, but all those details of those numbers will actually be shown in the FY22 budget when we look at that in a few minutes.
Mhm.
So,
But we can get back to that too, Doug, in terms of the miscellaneous, the fact that it's a large number, right? So let me do this. Let me just do quickly on the OPEB report that was shared. I just think, oops, it's a little too big. Just in terms of the breakdown, Charlie had suggested sharing this. It does help in terms of looking at the gains, where it was, where it's been, right? 857 to year to date, I'm sorry, 703 this period, 657, the different kind of how it's been functioning. I mean, the market's been great, and again, it's not like we haven't I did have let me just say on this, it's a sidebar, but it'll be an item just in terms of, did have a conversation with Bob Moran. He is interested. We put together a scope of services to have him take this project on and the various different OPEB accounts, and to see and do a comparative analysis. So that's going to be moving forward, but this is through May 31st, and it gives the breakdown in terms of the market value. I don't know if there was questions on that.
Yeah, Mary, of course I have questions. If you can bring that, yeah, okay. So I guess my first question was, this period was $857,299.
Yep.
Year to date was $703,911.43. That's a difference of $153,388.55. I guess where does that show that difference?
Probably within the details of the statement. I'm not sure. I'd have to really dig into it in order to answer that question. I'm not sure.
And then
All the details are within this statement somewhere.
so my second question is on the fees. We pay $255.86. Is that a month, or was that just this month? Because if I divided that or times $255.86 by 12, it comes out to $3,070 not, and I don't know where that minus $2,704.47 came from.
Right, the 255.86 is monthly,
Yeah.
but that's only 11 of 12. So it'd be 11.
You have one more.
So 11 times 255.86 should be 2704.47.
Right. You said 255.86 times 12. There you go. So it's 11 months, right? So and then minus
Yeah, the 2704.47 is 11 months.
6 equals
So that's what we pay a month for our fees?
this, the 255.86.
Except it changes. It's not always, I don't think it's always exactly that number.
So no, what we'll do, Sandy, is this was only the front page. There were 12 pages. I can scan the rest of the statement in and send it to the Finance Committee for review.
And at the end of the year, everything is totaled. Like I have to take all 12 statements and dig out all of the fees and there are 3 different numbers that have to get pulled out. So once that report is done, I'll make sure that you get that report as well, which completely reflects in the GASB report, but just as a summary.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just, quickly looked at and I just came up with different numbers, but that's all right.
Yeah, no problem.
So the 2 questions just in terms of the year-to-date versus this period, and then these fees in terms of whether it's this or they vary, and then see if we have we'll get the answers back to you.
Thank you.
The other piece was, stand by. I thought sorry, I'm looking for the accrual. I thought I sent that.
Is it under miscellaneous?
And nope. I know where it is. I'm just gonna go right to one other place. Just want to be able to show this. Yeah, this is the one. I think I'd get to know Zoom by now, right? So I sent this along. You need to get me to, there we go. So this is, Brenda's pulled this together. It's, through June 29th.
Well, this is just the weekly report that comes from payroll.
Right. So for every employee, their ID, their status employee, active, what they have to date, what's available, what's been used, the total, and then it gives a monetary amount in terms of sort of the just to help balance the books and for keeping things on track. So, with personnel handbook being updated, this will be changed. This will be, at least not having to carry, so many on the books, but, we'll certainly give entitled to employees to know what they have. They receive this information in their weekly paycheck, so they have it. But, again, it's for, for instance, here's Guo Chang, who just started, right? So this is what he accumulates. This is the value of it. So I don't know if there's any questions about this.
Charlie's got a lot of vacation time.
Uh-huh.
And as we talked about at the personnel meetings, the subcommittee, it's management to encourage employees to take vacation. We all need to review.
I haven't been listening.
Like la 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 la.
Hang on.
But and I think that's the point of being a manager and making sure employees are taking the time. And if it's not used for them personally for resetting, then it's really to either spend with family members or however they want to use it, vacation time. So, for the most part, people really do take their time. And, I think the only other staff member, as we talked about, was Andrew Vidal. And with our handbook, there is going to be a phase-in period. So effective a year from July 1st, that cap will be implemented and enforced. It just because it's changing, they really hadn't been deeply involved with a lot of the personnel handbook from, say, like the old version from like 6 months ago. And this would give an opportunity. We're going to provide training. We're going to encourage the managers and supervisors to encourage staff to take the time that they need, and to not be necessarily carrying it on the books.
What was the cap that was voted on by the personnel committee?
So it's 210.
210?
Yeah, Mary, you want me to pull up the other report that shows the accrual for the year?
Could you?
Yeah, sure. Just give me
I'm
just
gonna give you,
minutes.
let me just make you co-host.
Give me a minute. I'll find it.
But I think, well, the other members, we're really trying our best to make sure that those numbers are in check. And so Charlie had a conversation with Andrew, and so did I, just to say, listen, this is, he appreciated the heads up that this is going to change. And he's going to be taking some time that's due him, right? It's accumulated, and it's helpful. So all of you can now make sure we all encourage Charlie. Every time you see him, you can say, how's that vacation time coming, Charlie?
I'll see you in 6 months. Going on sabbatical.
So you're on vacation tomorrow, right, Charlie?
That's right. I'll say, yeah, I'll see you in January,
Well, and as all of you know, I can't be more appreciative of Charlie's work on just everything that touches this organization. So the depth of his knowledge. And thank you, Brenda.
No
Perfect.
We
problem.
do like one on, one off, like alternate months. That'd be
Yep.
fun.
Right? There you go. No, that's not going to work either.
So what's on the screen right now is the report that goes to the auditor. It shows the total accrued liability for sick and vacation for this year. This number will be a solid part on the audit for FY21. So our total accrual dollars liability for sick and vacation time, and you will notice that the only one who's being allowed any sick time at all is Charlie, because he's been here as long as he's been there.
Yep.
No one else is, can take it with them. So
This
so
is a
that's-
good chart, Brenda. This is
this is how it's calculated, and this has to be done at the end of every fiscal year. So that's our liability for year FY21, and you can see all the details. So the sick allowance is 910, Doug, and the vacation allowance is 210.
And just so you know, you'll see my numbers high, but I have every intention of taking vacation time, just to let you all know.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to take a lot of time off soon.
So Brenda, maybe if you could, I think you sent this to me.
Yeah, yes, I did. I also posted, it's also posted on the in the SharePoint.
Is, just because I think in my email, I just said for people, this is just more for confidential purposes, but if this is something you have an interest in looking at, I'll email it just to those that are on the finance
Yeah,
meeting.
because this has got everybody's salaries on it, so we have to be careful with this particular report.
So how about over on the right side, the 2020 balances, where are they carried forward over on the left?
They're carried forward for the 2020 number. The difference between this number and this number is what ends up giving us this. This is the number that had to be adjusted in QuickBooks in order to get to this number. It's kind of hard. It's an accounting thing, but the way that you get to the liability for this year is taking into consideration where we were last year. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Kind of.
Yeah, the liability in 2020 would have been 103,000. So,
Hey, Brenda, just for curiosity, because Pat Chiamella was in, oh, it was a different fiscal year, not calendar year. That's what it is, right?
that's right.
Okay, because Pat was in January of 2020, and that's
That's
in
right.
the
Yeah.
previous. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that has Bruce's payout.
Yes.
Yep.
And Paul Chenard's and Jimmy Pereira's. Great. Any questions on that? Okay. Is it something, I just for the members, is that something you'd want to see? I could send a hard copy with a confidential piece to it. It's up to you. Just let me know.
As long as it's being watched and, you know, the numbers aren't getting crazy.
That's,
Well, that's why I think we've been talking about, you know, we are going to change something about this. The auditor is, you know, very big about changing something because we're carrying too much of a liability here. So
Right.
I think it's been decided that we're not going to do that until next year.
It would probably, for next year, maybe like a quarterly update, just to see
Yeah.
where we are. And
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You know, I mean, we could still change it for this year, really, if we wanted to. It's up to the board when it gets right down to it.
Charlie, we don't wish you to get sick, but maybe you can take some days there as a sick day.
you know, it, and I think to the point, and we've talked about this before, is that, you know, we have people like Charlie and a few others that don't abuse their sick time. And the fact that they don't, you know, it does get accrued, and certainly do, you know, there's always been the mindset, you know, you don't want to punish those that are abiding and being good workers, right? And then you'll see some of them really have worked their time down, and that's not necessarily on vacation time, but like sick time. So, you know, it's that balance. We certainly, you know, I remember the conversation early on with Lee Hartman where he said, hey, Charlie, kind of like, let's work something out so we don't, you know, feel like you're being punished by this new policy. You know, where we go on this is that it's management, and I think that with the new personnel handbook, a much more engaged manager, lower, right? It's not just only from executive director, it's really the managers of the departments. And, you know, when we do meet, this is always discussed. So, so to the point, Sandy, yep, it will be monitored. I think to Doug, in terms of, you know, for this finance to have a quarterly, you know, reporting to see where things are. I think that's being transparent. You know, I just want to be sensitive to the, and not just because Charlie is on this, but just be sensitive to that people have acquired, and there may be some reasons why people may not be taking time. We're just strongly encourage and keep that in cap. So it's not, so the good news is you're not seeing all 18 employees with a lot of time that's not being used, right? And so, yep, you know, the conversation from a fiscal responsible part is reasonable. So I feel that we're on a good path with the new policies, you know, and again, those policies are going to be updated on a yearly basis, not just shelved and what have you. So we can address it. Certainly, you know, it may be helpful even, Doug, if like a personnel committee and a finance committee together, just to talk about, where the policies are, what's the financial impact. Brenda had the email from Markham. Right, we'll keep all of those in at bay.
I think
Well,
something
and
to
we'll-
keep in mind too is the fact that somebody might have 0 hours on this spreadsheet for vacation time, but they're taking it in real time, so you're paying that out whether it's on the spreadsheet or not. So that's still, it's not going to be a liability on your books, but you paid that out
Mhm.
in real time. So to me, it's like, what difference does it make?
So we'll be doing the reporting and come back and remain transparent on these. And, again, I feel I have confidence in the management, not only with Brenda and Charlie, but also the managers. So. I don't
And
think-
somebody like here, like Brenda has highlighted is Ray for the 910, Ray Garino.
Yep.
But she has a note down below that Ray won't vest until 2030.
Right.
And Ray is currently 65 or 67 or something like that. So, and he's not going to make it to that benchmark of the year 2030. So
No.
that's never going to trigger into that other column where that's going to be a liability that we pay him sick time.
Yep.
Right.
If he retires, because he'll never get the years of service to
Yep.
become qualified. So
Again, questions and comments are always welcomed, and I think that's where having this discussion is important, and to kind of understand, as Brenda has highlighted and Charlie indicated, who does it really affect in terms of, our biggest thing is to prevent those payouts, right? Those large payouts that happened in one year. And, to many degrees, right?
Yeah, well, I think what we had talked about was when it reaches a certain point at the end of the year that no more will accrue until some gets used. That's one of the things that the auditor and the state of Massachusetts has that as their criteria as well. So these are just things that we will talk about in order to lower our liability.
I think to Mary's point too, it's like if you put in the time, you shouldn't really be, that it shouldn't be taken away from you. So
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, I agree.
So, and again, I have not seen anybody abuse any time, but being transparent is exactly, I think, the conversation that Christine's talked about as president, from the top down for us. And so us reviewing this and going over this is important. So you can know, this calculation that Brenda put together. Charlie did that nice chart. Remember when we were talking about this, how it's going to be affected? That was really helpful to see. Like you won't have it from me, right? You're not going to be worried about the payout for me in terms of I just won't have the number of years at OCPC. So it's helpful to kind of get a sense. And Brenda, just scroll down for just a little bit in terms of the three people, and we mentioned this several times: Lila Burgess, Ray, and then Charlie. So I can reshare that Excel spreadsheet that Charlie, because I think that sheet along with this can really kind of give the picture about. I just don't foresee us having another year of large payouts like we did last year. So. Thanks, Brenda. I think you can stop sharing, right? Any other questions on that? Sorry.
As soon as I
Really
figure out
helpful.
how to stop sharing,
You go up to the top and you.
I got it.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you. And so for me, right. So then when we get right, so now these crazy kind of numbers, it now fits
That was
into.
harder to decipher really, and it doesn't have, it doesn't take into consideration that everything's not going to get used. It just shows a giant total for sick time.
So let me.
And that changes all the time. I mean,
Yes, it does. It does. The accruals happen every single pay. So
yeah.
Right. So let me get us back to the other topics. Sorry about that. Share screen. After how many, I'm still kind of sometimes say like, how long have I been doing this? It really should be a little bit more in tune. So let's get into, this is really kind of the, I just want to make sure everybody's able to see this. I can make it bigger, a little bit bigger. Let's try this, better. So,
And remember that these numbers in obviously the May numbers will become June. In our next meeting, the numbers will be completely solid. They're not solid just yet.
Right. Let me just make sure I'm able to get this all in. Okay.
I know it's a big spreadsheet.
Well, that's okay. We had some preliminary discussions the last finance meeting where we went through sort of the mindset where we're going. Lots of questions in terms what's the difference between, you know, the admin professionals and some of the other things. The bottom line is that so in that spreadsheet that I had sent, right? So there, you know, some of the numbers where we went up and explaining why, right? Close of FY20 was 23, and here we are at 35. Well, we at just about every kind of turn of a meeting, having Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, Lahane, they're not cheap, but they're good, and they've been, you know, on our bylaws, on our personal bylaws, you know, so that has been an added number that has been in there. I think that really is, Markham's been in there. So these are some of the numbers from this year. Markham has gone up and we have additional legal. So let me just say, at least the proposed budget is still in budget. It's not out of budget at all. So these numbers are, I would say, are fiscally responsible, but we're around to explain. So that's, these side notes here are some of the notes as it relates to what that is. The subscription, books and dues, since we have grown our staff, there's also, we've increased and we're paying for their APA membership. That had not happened before. That happened in the middle of last year, but we're going to continue that on. So we have a listing of when they're all expired. It's all relative to the jobs that we do. And I would like to offer, at least under this amount too, for any council members to have a membership to see the you know, the webinars that are happening, to be more engaged about not only transportation but planning, environment. So that's one of the added pieces for subscription. We are not, so COVID, we didn't spend anything. We did pretty much under budget. We've talked about this. We're gonna it's going to be, as Brenda has indicated, it's obsolete. The advertising, we went from, I mean, if you can see consistently, it was in FY21, it was at 10,000, but we only really didn't use that much. I'd still like to keep it at 7,000 for various reasons. Again, being more engaged with our communities, but it's up a little bit. The van, we went from 4,500. We are from here projected. We didn't use that much, but van, as it goes on, is going to incur additional costs because of the age of it. So we're keeping that as it was before. Utilities and ROM, we went up a little bit. Well, no, it's 13.5. We kept it for projected last time. We're still under, but it's a solid number, conservative number. Building repairs and ROM, if you can see, we had projected 17,265. We're keeping it at that. I don't anticipate as much, but we didn't know COVID was hitting last year either. So we're just going to keep it as that amount, keeping it status quo. The building management, we had been at the 5,000. I am proposing that we go up to 75, and how that gets broken down. So basically 5,000 management is used to offset my salary. I will tell you that ROM is getting a deal for what they pay, or let's put it this way, OCPC is getting a deal for the 5,000. So we upped it up to 2,500, either have that be further offset my salary or Brenda's salary, just because of the management of it. We haven't determined the percentage of that, but that's the goal, is to, we're just doing a whole lot, that 5,000, not looking to break the bank on them, that to go much further, but it's time consuming, and just to indicate the value of the management part of that. Equipment repairs, remember we talked about what's the difference between that? Brenda has the chart of accounts pretty well broken down. We are, Brenda, help me out on this one.
Yeah, equipment repairs is more like if computers break, telephones break, things that we have in-house that get broken. So the OCPC number is not that big. Equipment repairs and maintenance is bigger on the ROM side, because equipment there might mean the heating,
Got it.
you know, that sort of thing. So that's the
on the
difference.
and that's on the ROM side. So I apologize, that's there. So
Yes.
the equipment purchase, we mentioned this when we had Andrew Vidal come on, but the plotter, we're purchasing laptops for staff, and many of we did an assessment and we did a breakdown of whose computer, like for instance, Kyle Mowat's computer was fried, like the motherboard and everything, couldn't get anything off his desktop. Utilizing the advice of Right Technology, this way staff, because we're working in 365 and remote still, that the laptops are being purchased. And a plotter. The plotter itself has some, and then ArcGIS and S3. So these are proposed. It is high, but it is, an analysis was done and needed. The Charlie, which are the pieces that we will put in for Mass DOT? Thank you.
There's potential to pick up the plotter. The good news about the plotter, when we bought it off the MassDOT contract the last time, 100% was 15,000. Most recent cost estimates top out at 9,000 for the Cadillac. So,
yeah,
which is, it's rare, something, you know, newer and better, and
yeah,
14 years later is cheaper, you know. So that's a good thing. So
no, it's all good. And I know the ArcGIS and the S3, those are coming out of,
I think that's admin.
I'm sorry?
Admin.
It is coming out of general admin. So this is a pretty big number, but at the same time, it really is an assessment of what's needed to keep the office running and stuff. A lot of the desktop were running slow and really becoming a little bit more obsolete. We were told, I think in the plan that Howard Wright had presented 2 months ago, is that we should plan on every 5 years to be replacing either desktops or laptops. So we'll be, well, this is a big number, we'll be looking to have it be phased accordingly. Any questions on that? Postage machine, we're pretty much keeping it the same. Just trying to see what this one is. What's it? Oh, equipment supplies. It's de minimis in terms of paper, and we're doing pretty much a lot is being done electronically, right? We're not even, you know, there's hardly the old-fashioned way of sending mail out, but we do. But even like printing a letter, it's on letterhead electronically, and you know, but we will be getting some stationery so we can have that in-house. I'm gonna the fringe benefit, Brenda, I think what we had was 171 just because of number of employees that are coming, right? Yeah, new.
Well, 171 is what we've actually spent in May.
Right.
And by the time we get to June, it's going to be, you know, I think the estimate is, I can't remember. I'm estimating there at May. Oh, okay. So if you go over to the projected,
Yep.
If you go over to the column to the left of the May, you'll see the projected numbers where I think we're going to finish. So I am projecting 181,000 at the end of June. That's okay. It took me a minute too, because you can't see the top as you roll down. So yeah, and the fringe, anything having to do with payroll is increasing because we are definitely going to have new employees. Yep, that, and, you know, and an intern and those sort of things, that's going to happen. So those things need to get bumped up for obvious reasons.
So the loan interest expense, so we know that because we're.
Yep.
We're refinancing that meeting expenses. So just because I mean, we are getting meetings coming, so we had, in the projected in FY 2021, we brought it down because remember we did some shifting, but,
Really haven't done anything this year, but we're going to get back to more normal,
we'll get back to more normal.
yeah, the year coming.
But I don't, not quite sure if it will be at that level of the 15. So we put in for 10, we projected for 10. Miscellaneous expensive, we're just gonna put a hold on that for a minute, right? The miscellaneous.
Yeah, that's just the offset to balance the budget to the income at the bottom.
Doug had a question, but I'm gonna have us go
Okay.
back to it once we finish the rest. Office supplies, where just still keeping, this is new employees will be added, just so it's went from 42, so we're almost at 45, so we went up to 6,000 on that. And payroll taxes, those are, again, new employees. Postage stayed the same, printing, we stayed the same. So the only thing, because I'll show you in 1 minute, we have a, it'll be for tomorrow night, a annual report. We'll have it be provided online, but I'd like to have some of that annual report be printed out just to send to, at least to the Board of Selectmen and for the town administrators. $1,000 for postage, it's staying pretty much the same. Actually, we had projected 5,200 because we really weren't sending much out anyway. So that's what that is. Rent is.
That's what it is, 70,200.
Yep, salaries is what it is. So in here, the potential of a new employee, and I had a conversation with Christine saying, I'm not ready to propose what kind of human capital we need. I need us to get through this meeting, the annual meeting, but I really would like to have a conversation such as, someone to prepare the credentials so I'm not messing it up. I mean, there's been some, it's getting a little bit, in the first minute, and I wouldn't say sloppy is necessarily the word, but definitely has not been on my game. I really like to tighten that up. So trying to find someone who can do a little bit of finance to help Brenda, someone who can help with the general administrative work, and maybe perhaps even someone who likes planning, who can help out the various departments. So it's a to be determined, but there's a little bit of some wiggle room in there to keep the budget, to keep on budget. Travel expenses, we kind of cut the difference between the 5,000 that was projected and putting 2,500. If need be, we can assess it mid-year, which we will do on a monthly basis anyway with the financials. Direct travel and other expenses not covered above. Oh, thank you. Good. Pavement management software, 2 traffic counters and a tester. Charlie, do you want to?
That's bumping up the direct costs right there
Correct.
with those items.
So the payment, while that's in, all 3 of those would be a MassDOT direct expense reimbursement, not admin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that is the direct expense number.
right.
Yeah.
So it's a one-off. I mean, it's not coming out of the admin, so
Right.
covered under the existing MassDOT contract.
It's an expense that is 100% offset by the bottom income.
The telephone and internet. What do we have here? We were, Brenda, maybe 18,000.
Well, I mean, we've spent 17 this year, and
Right.
so I think that it's realistic just bumping it up 1,000 for a year to come.
Yep, agree. And then the OPEB benefits at this one, it's the 56 to cover the actual expense for FY 21. So before we go to miscellaneous, any questions on this? And if not, we can go right to miscellaneous stuff on your question.
Well, what I was gonna ask is the surplus that you guys are gonna get at the end of this fiscal year, is that accounted for in this proposed budget?
Say that again?
So you know how you're only, almost 80% spent on your budget.
Yep.
Fiscal year ends in the end of the month.
Yep.
So is that surplus, which is probably gonna be around what, like around $300,000?
No, it's not going to be that much because we have a lot of expenses in June, a lot of expenses in June, all those laptops, there's a lot of expenses. So that miscellaneous number of 1731 that has been used at this point is going to bump up considerably. So whatever is left in miscellaneous, to balance back to the income will just be a surplus of our budget funds for this year.
And that surplus will be added to the miscellaneous to next year, well, the proposed
Yes.
budget.
Well, as you can see, the miscellaneous for next year right now is only at 17,897 because we're spending a lot of money on, all those things that are listed on the right-hand side. There's, they're big ticket items.
Right.
So.
All right. That's my
Okay.
question.
And Mary, do you want to scan down to the bottom just so I can talk to about the income? We don't usually talk about the income, but I just wanted everybody to see, if you look at the FY21 budget posted income, which is the one in blue. If you go down to the bottom of and you look at the total, this is the actual income that we have in the bank. And then if you go over to the left.
Yep, sorry.
That's okay.
That's the other left.
I'm sorry.
Nope.
That column there, go up to the top. I hate how you can't see everything at the same time. The FY21 projected income, June 2021. And then if you go to the bottom, it looks like we are going to be at around the 2,062,062 because we have gotten a huge amount of money in June. AAA, we've gotten a couple 100,000 just from AAA. We've gotten, in June, these numbers are going to change a lot in next month's report. So, but, when you look at expenses versus income, what our expenses actually are at this point and what our income in the bank versus what the posted income is, which is anything that's been invoiced, which we haven't necessarily received yet. It was a good year for sure. So that was all I wanted to say about that. And the projected budget, the 2,051,059 fits into the top expenses, which only has that $17,000 surplus amount in miscellaneous. So it looks like a pretty decent budget for the year to come as well.
Yeah, it was really good put together. Thank you.
Thank you. And did you notice I put in your FY20, I put in you wanted to see the prior year, so I put it in there for you. There it is.
But see, it makes sense now because you're
Yes.
comparing last year and the year before.
Yes, it does.
Even
though it was running out of column space. I need a bigger computer.
Yeah, we can do
put it in the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
There. It does provide a much clearer history, right? I can't speak for, FY20 so much, but I can certainly talk about FY21. And we just keep moving it forward, right?
Yep.
Slow and steady in terms of what we do. I will be the first to admit that, this last month I was saying, let's try to get whatever we possibly can in this end of this fiscal year, not to spend down, every single penny, but holding off on what we may need to first see where we are with everything else, and then to prioritize. The laptops became a priority.
Yeah, for sure.
And as we're working remote and offering employees the opportunity to be flexible. You know, those kind of are the needs that I think that's important. So how about
Any other questions about the budget? Anybody? About the FY22 budget?
No,
Okay. And again, next month, once I know once I have the solid numbers for the end of June, which will be here soon, I can then have a more reasonable look at the FY22 budget, because when the numbers change in FY21, it's going to change the numbers in FY22. So.
So, Mr. Chair, if I could pose on you for 1 minute, and I think would make sense for us for this committee to have a motion to recommend to the council the FY22 proposed budget.
Okay. So do I have a motion to recommend this proposed budget to the council?
So moved.
second,
All right.
All those in favor, actually, just for a quick roll call, Chairman Silvestri,
Aye.
Sandra Wright,
yes.
Christine Joy.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the last was the OPEB discussion, and I kind of covered it in the earlier conversation, and it really is just to engage Bob Moran. Bob and I kind of talked about it. There's a scope of services. My hope is we're going to try to get it in this fiscal year. But again, whether it's this fiscal year and next, the funds will be carried over. They will be there. I told him the deadline is really to try to get through July to have something be ready for August. There may be even a chance to get it for the July finance meeting, or to have a special meeting about the OPEB. He just has to go through the various recordings that we've had, and then to reach out to the organizations to find to have discussions. So I saw Frank Basler today at a meeting that the Central Water District of Plymouth County held, and we chatted, and he's, both he and Tom O'Brien were available if we need to talk with them. So I told them that I'll be making an introduction. And then I know that we have the contact for Rockland Trust to have conversations with them. So it's on task. I just need to kind of cross the T's, dot the I's, or believe me, the way that I've been going recently is crossing the I's and dotting the T's, whichever way is going to be. But my hope is that we're really going to get this laser focused. We can have a recommendation of the of the neutral assessment.
Bob Moran, he has all that free time to do that?
He's going to use his weekends, he said. So he does, yeah, I know. I don't know if he's going to have much time with this, with there was power outages in Brockton and elsewhere with this heat, but he is he's in agreement. So
I have to thank him and take him out.
actually, while I have the chair, since it's on it, and I think it's covered, so we don't need under new business, but with that OPEB discussion, that it may be advantageous. I didn't have it as an action item, but maybe just to have a formal vote of the Finance Committee to engage Bob Moran in a memorandum of agreement and scope of services. It's going to be about $1,000, so it's not much, and it's below. I could do it on my own, but I would rather just having a just to have a formal vote of this committee.
Okay. No, I agree. I think, you have too much on your plate already. So I think, having Bob Moran come in and at least do that with his time. I mean, he's familiar with it. It's been with the council forever. So, I don't see why not. So I guess we could put it to a vote. Do I hear a motion to pass to have Bob Moran, I guess, create the scope of work as far as the OPEB comparison is concerned?
I'll move that. Yes.
Can I vote on that?
Yes, you can, because it has nothing to do with just an assessment.
Sure. Then I'll second it.
So moved.
I would just do it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Outside of that, I do not have any other items for you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Anybody else have any items or something they want to bring up?
I would like for us to kind of think about the possibility of maybe taking a month off either July or August. So I don't know if you guys want to take a look at your schedule, and Mary and Charlie, if you think that's agreeable. It might be nice to have a month that we don't have a meeting, where you guys can just, you're not spending time getting ready for the meeting. You can just get some work done.
Um, I certainly would appreciate it. I know we worked through the summer last year. It was a different year because of COVID. But I do think that there was a lot on the plate. Actually, I'm gonna do one thing here.
I think if we were gonna do that, I'd say maybe August would probably be the
Me
best
too.
time.
Agree.
Because like you said, next month, I mean, you'll have the finals for,
Yeah.
For the fiscal year, so.
Yeah. And I'm anxious to get that done and move on so I can start worrying about the FY22.
Well, that sounds good to me. And then maybe Mary and I had talked about possibly doing some type of a retreat. Maybe we could do that in September, Mary, with getting everybody back together.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I just,
too.
I'm going to do a preview. Two things. I think you may have seen my email, and that we're just going to recognize Troy Garin at 6:45. He cannot make it because of conflict. But one of the things I'll run through just quickly today, and you'll see it tomorrow, it's an annual report recognizing, Christine has seen a bit of this, but we're keep improving. It's a working document. It's not, actually, this is not even the most up-to-date one. I have a new updated one. It really is cool. You'll see it tomorrow. But it's tooting, I guess, our own horn. It's acknowledging all the work that has been done. You'll see even, Brenda put this really cool annual budget. It's highlights where our money comes, where the expenses are in a graphic. So, but it takes time. I was here, I'm not whining. I'm just saying, because of trying to do things in my own life. And then I knew that our design person for the annual report had his deadlines to put together pictures. And I was here till like 10:30 at night going through my pictures here at the office. And I was like, it's just, it's
A lot.
It is, well, it's a lot, and yet we need to be doing this. So,
Right.
So to your point, what I will do is, let me talk internally to staff, because I would like to have that be announced at the council meeting tomorrow night. Christine, I think
Sure.
it's there. And Doug, what did you say? Your choice was what month versus what?
It would be August to take that little month off.
So, and I think that's doable, with the retreat being looked at for September. So, okay. So I will, I'll have internal, and then I'll get back to you in advance, just to reconfirm that suggestion, Doug. And if anybody gives me other reasons for not having it, we can talk it through. So I appreciate.
Well, and we can always meet if needed, the finance committee, but just not a full council meeting.
Right.
Correct. Okay, that's very good. And if there's some need for some reason, the executive committee can meet in an emergency situation.
Right.
Right.
Okay.